Welcome into another one-on-one session here at OKPreps Media Day. I'm Michael Knight sitting down with Vian defensive tackle Solomon Wright. Solomon, obviously a really good season for Vian last year. Only 2 losses, and those coming to 2 state champions, Lincoln and Metro Christian. Obviously things didn't end the way you would like in that championship game, but at the same time, a great season and a lot of talent coming back. I got to assume that the motto for 2020 is unfinished business or something similar?
Yes, sir. We're going to be playing with the chip on our shoulder, and we just get reminded every day of the loss we had last year. And I don't really know.
I mean, how tired? I mean, look, it's June. Yeah, it's June. And, it's been 6 months since you played in that title game, but I'm sure there hasn't been, very many days that you have gone by where you haven't thought about it or you haven't been reminded of it. How sick are you of talking about it and thinking about it?
I'm tired of talking about it. I'm just ready to play again, play with the edge.
Now that's what's scary is he's saying that you're playing with an edge, you're playing with a chip on your shoulder. You were one of the more dominant players in Oklahoma last year with your size, speed, things like that. I joked with you a little bit before we hit record that I think it's kind of unfair that you play 2A football just because of your size and speed. You're able to push everybody around. How much fun do you have on a football field on a Friday night?
It's a lot of fun just pushing around everybody, and it's just what I do.
I mean, has there ever been a matchup where you go into it thinking I might have, because you make it look easy, and I know it's not easy. I understand that, but at the same time, you make it look easy with whether you're beating a guy with your speed. Most of the time, you're having to deal with double teams and things like that. Have you ever gone into a matchup thinking I might have an issue here?
Not trying to be cocky, but no, I haven't met anybody yet.
Look, yet is the key word. Eventually, as we all know, there might be that one day that comes. It hasn't come yet. The kid has been dominant. Last season, how much fun was it playing, with this team, with your brother as well? He had a great season as well, and making a run to the championship. Again, it didn't end the way you want, but when you look back at it, you had to, come away with some really good memories as well.
Yeah, it was really fun just playing with my brother and everybody else, and we just we have a bond that you can't replace, and making memories on the bus and stuff, it was just fun.
Now, how excited are you guys for 2020 with all the talent your brother graduates, but at the same time, you bring back a lot of talented kids on both sides of the ball. How excited is everybody for the potential of 2020?
We're very excited, and we have good players coming back, and we have a great chance to make a run at it again.
Your get into, what you've been doing, what your team has been doing this offseason to work out and things like that, let's get into your recruitment, because you are committed to Texas Tech, one of the better defensive players in the 21 class. Obviously, your dad is a pretty famous Oklahoman, a guy who I cherish my friendship with him, Kenyatta Wright, former Oklahoma State Cowboy. Committing to Texas Tech, it was a little bit of a surprise. It was a surprise to me as well. I mean, what led you to that decision? I know he has a good relationship with Coach Wells, but what led you to that decision that Tech was where you wanted to be?
The coaches and just everywhere around there's just country. The coaches are unreal, and they're true, and they're not going to change. And I seen that when I went on my visit. That's what I liked about it.
How was that conversation when, obviously, he's going to support wherever, but at the same time, I'm sure he was maybe in the back of his head hoping that you'd be wearing the orange and black at some point. What was that conversation like?
He didn't really care where I went. He wanted me to make my own legacy, and so I guess I'm just going to be beating OSU on Saturdays now.
A small part of him hurts. A small part of him hurts when he hears that. I know that. But at the same time, you mentioned, being a country guy, and, this offseason has been a little weird. Gyms closed down, schools locked down, can't get into the weight room. What have you done, as far as, creative-wise to stay in shape, to work out, things like that?
Manual labor, been weed eating and picking up rocks at the ranch.
Just picking up rocks. What kind of rocks are we dealing with?
Big old rocks.
Boulders, perhaps?
Boulders, yes.
All right. We mentioned you are committed to Tech. You've been committed for a couple months now, I think. What has that relationship with those coaches been like since then, since you went ahead and said, yeah, I'm headed to Lubbock?
It stayed the same. They've called me every day like they used to, and they're always checking in, see how my family is. They're recruiting my family also, not just me.
Now, it's always interesting to talk to a kid who's committed because, as I always say, the recruiting process never stops. And so other schools are still going to recruit you. And I'm sure the last couple of months you've had to have some difficult conversations. How awkward is it to, talk to a coach who's, trying to persuade you, trying to push you, but at the same time, I mean, knowing you a little bit and where you come from, you're a committed guy. Once you committed, I have no doubt that you'll be signing with Tech, but at the same time, you have to have those conversations with other coaches. How difficult and awkward can they be sometimes?
It was very difficult and awkward telling them because they didn't want it. But they're still trying to recruit me because they say I'm going there still, but I don't think so.
How do you handle that as 16, 17, 18-year-old, having to tell, a grown guy like, hey, I appreciate it and I understand, but I'm committed to the Red Raiders?
I just tell them how it is and they understand. And I just ask my dad for advice, and if they have questions, they'll call him.
Now, we mentioned, what you've been able to do, working out, things like that. How excited are you now that we're getting into June? Things are starting to open up a little bit. You guys are able to start working out together as a team. How excited are you to get back in the weight room and instead of picking up rocks, you're able to move some metal?
I'm very excited. Every day I wake up, it's football season.
Do you have a countdown? I mean, at what point do you guys, start looking at 2020 and the season? And, obviously right now it's just preparing. But at the same time, the goal is obviously get back to state, win state. Do you have a countdown in your head? I mean, how difficult is it to just, be working and then at the same time you're ready for August, you're ready for September?
It's difficult. We get reminded every day, like I said a while ago. Coach Willis was talking about it today during workouts. He said, if you ain't going hard, just remember what happened last year. And everybody was like, dang, might as well. They start going harder.
What have you been working on as an individual to look, again, I mentioned it a couple times. You're one of my favorite players to watch, just that combo of size and speed. If you're looking for a fun video to watch, pull up his junior highlights. We might play some over this interview, by the way, because, again, one of my favorites last year. What are you looking to improve on? Because you're never a finished product, things like that. You can always get bigger, faster, stronger. What have you been trying to improve on this offseason going into your senior year?
My speed and also endurance, because last year I was a little gassed at the start of the year, so I don't want to be like that this year.
Now, for your team, obviously we mentioned the expectations, the talent coming back. What has to be different in your mind for you guys to not only make it back to state, but to win the whole thing? Obviously, you made it there last year. It was one of the best games that I've witnessed in person, close throughout. What has to be different, though, for you guys to be raising a gold ball in December?
I would say our mindset, knowing we're going to beat everybody and go into it. Like we're the number one team, and that's what it is, I think.
Do you guys feel like the target's on you at this point? I mean, look, Metro Christian, obviously they're defending champs, but they also graduated Superman in Asher Link, who had one of the best seasons in recent memory. Do you feel like the target's on you guys?
Yes, sir, I think it is.
See, look, that's how you have to act. If you're going to make it back there, you have to feel that you're one of the best teams. Vian certainly, on paper, looks like one of the best teams going into 2020. Solomon, thank you so much for sitting down with me today. I appreciate your time. And obviously 2020 could be very special for the Wolverines. Looking forward to seeing what happens.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
He's Solomon Wright. I'm Michael Knight, and this has been another one-on-one session here at OKPreps Media Days.